Okay, design options round 2. This should work this time. Just had to figure out a couple little bugs that I didn't recall encountering. Okay, so let's try this one more time. I'm gonna hopefully this time I'm gonna be able to show you 2 different ways to which you can do your design options. I'm gonna do it both from as if you already have the glazing, and then also from if you don't have the glazing yet. Okay, so if you have the glazing and you want to create your second design option, let's go back. We're going to click on the design option button. We're going to add the new option set, and then we're going to add the second option. Okay, from here I'm going to go ahead and click on close. I'm going to then select all 4 of these components. I'm going to select all 4 of the components that are associated with each other. So really all I care about is the glazing, but the glazing is embedded in the walls, so I have to select all of the walls too. So I'm going to select both pieces of glazing, and I'm going to select both walls, okay? And I'm going to go up to manage, and then I'm going to go to add to set, and I'm going to add all 4 components to options 1 and options 2, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, if I toggle between option 1 and option 2, they should be exactly the same right now. So that's okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to option 2 because option 1 is set. We don't need to change it. We've already created it. Okay. So from option 2, I can now edit these components. All right. So right now, if I edit this wall right here, it will actually edit the one in option 1 as well because they are the same piece. But there's a little workaround in how you can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both pieces of glazing right now. Okay, I'm going to copy it. So Control C, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to delete it. Okay, and now I'm going to click on this wall again, and I'm going to go up to Paste, and I'm going to go to Align to Same Place. Okay, now I actually have 2 pieces of storefront. One for option 1 and one for option 2. Both are separate from each other now. They're different things. Okay, so now notice if I'm still editing option 2. Okay, if I go through here and I start to edit this particular storefront, okay, maybe I'm just going to make a couple random edits here. Come on. Oh, got to unpin it. Okay, so I'm just going to change this one just a little bit. Maybe we make it like that, okay? And that will be what the difference is between option 1 and option 2. Hopefully you guys will create something that's a lot more, a lot cooler than that. But just to kind of keep it simple, let's go ahead and now toggle. I'm going to go to option 1. Now notice that it goes back to our original option. And if I go to option 2, it goes to our option that we just created, okay? And if I go back to main model, it will actually go back to what we had before, okay? And if I want to edit this, if I want to edit these components right here, I just need to go and select the design option that's associated with them.
How did you set it back in after you deleted it?
I went over to, I'll show you again. So I'm going to go back to option 2, and I'm going to, what I did was I selected the 2, I copied it, I then deleted it, and then I went over to, I clicked on one of these walls, and I clicked on Paste, and I clicked on Align to Same Place, okay? So that it just went back to exactly the exact same place as the previous one, okay? And now if I go between option 1 and option 2, I can go between the 2 different glazing options. So if you want to edit any of those particular components, you just select the design option associated with those components, and you can go and make those edits. Okay? Let's see. Let's look at the other way to do this. Okay, let me go back as if I didn't do any of that. Some of you guys might be in the position where you haven't created the glazing yet. And actually, in my opinion, design options work the best when you haven't created any of the options yet, because it allows you to kind of plan for them in advance a little bit better. So let me get back to where I had no design options. Okay, so I have no design options here. I am going to delete both of these. So you guys might be in the position where like, okay, I need to create 2 design options, and I'm going to start right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go down to the design options button. Okay, and again, just like I did before, I'm going to click on new set, and I'm going to add a new option. Okay, so now I have option 1 and option 2. Okay, I'm going to make option 2 the alternative glazing. Alternative glazing. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit close. Okay, from here I'm going to go select these two walls, and I'm going to do just like I did before. I'm going to go to Manage, and I'm going to click on Add to Set, and then I'm going to click on both option 1 and option 2. Okay, so now I want to add my two different design options. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, click on Design Options. I'm going to click on option 1, and I'm going to click on Edit Selected. Okay, and I'm going to hit close. So right now I am in editing mode for option 1. I can now do whatever I want. Whatever I build in this option will be a part of option 1. Okay, whether it be glazing, I could add whatever I want to the model, but it's only going to be a part of option 1. All right, so I can go to my levels. I can then add my storefront. So I'm going to do option 1. I'm just going to try to rebuild what I had earlier just really quickly. Okay, that's close enough. And then I'm going to add one more here. And that's going to be that storefront, delete. Okay, so let's just align these. And we should, oh, go back, there we go. So now I can just change my constraints. I'm going to change that to level 3. That will go ahead and fill up the remaining portions of my wall. I'm not going to go through and add and edit this little portion, but we're going to call that the end of my design option 1. Okay, we'll say that we're done with what we got there. Okay, so I'm going to go back down to my design options, and I'm going to click on Finish Editing. Okay, so now everything that I just created belongs to that design option. Okay, so if I go over to alternative, if I click on alternative glazing and I click on Edit Selected, notice that what we just created for option 1 now goes away. Okay, I can click on Close again, and I can now go over to my floor plans, and I can now draw what is going to be my alternative glazing option. So I can go ahead and draw that. Okay, I'll do something just a little bit more subtle to make it different. Option 2, delete. Okay, so let's just do something a little bit different to this one. Select them both, bring that up to level 3, hit OK. And maybe we do something to where we want this to have a different grid pattern. Okay, so I'm going to make this, let's duplicate that, let's call that option 3. Maybe we just want this to be, oops, edit type, let's change that to duplicate for option 3. No, okay, let's see, let's try doing something else. Let's click on this. I'm going to just change my, my grid spacing just like we did earlier. Okay, so I'm going to unpin this, and maybe we make that 1 foot, and we'll call it like that. We'll say that's the end of our design option 2. Okay, so from there I'm going to go over back to design options. I'm going to click on Finish Editing, click on Close. Notice that when I go to Finish Editing, it goes right back to our original option. Okay, but now if I go up to Manage, I can now toggle between the two different design options. That's option 1, which is our normal, and we have our alternative glazing option, which is option 2. Okay, so let's go back to the main model, and where this becomes kind of cool is I am going to set up a sheet where I am going to show off the two different design options. Okay, so let's see, this is going to be our floor plan. Let's create a new sheet using our DVC title block, and this is going to be called Elevations. Okay, so this is going to be called Elevations, and I'm going to go over to my, let's see, let's go to, what elevation is that? Let's try the north. Is north what I want? So north is what I want. So north is going to be the first elevation that I'm going to put on my sheet. Okay, so let me go back to my sheet, and what I'm going to do, because I don't want to duplicate I don't want to, I kind of want to leave my original elevations as is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the north elevation. I'm going to right click. I'm going to click on duplicate view with detailing. Okay? So I'm going to click on duplicate with detailing, and now I have 2 copies of my north. Okay? I'm going to right click on north. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to say north glazing option 1, and I'm going to hit OK. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick little cleanup on this. I don't want to see any of my foundation. Okay, that looks pretty good, and that looks pretty good. Okay, turn off my crop region, and this is going to be my north glazing option 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to north again. I'm going to duplicate it just as I did before, duplicate with detailing, and I'm going to call this one north, I'm going to call this north glazing option 2. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. So now, how do I display my design option for this view? If I go in my view and I go over to my visibility graphics, I can then go over to design options and I can select my alternative glazing option. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and that will change my my glazing option in this view. Okay, so I'm going to quickly clean this one up as well, and now let's maybe make these realistic so we can get some color. Let's make this realistic, and let's also make option 1 realistic. Okay, now I can go over to my elevations sheet and I could place my elevations, and I'm going to have glazing option 1 and glazing option 2. Okay, I'm going to make these both quarter, make them a little bigger. But that's an easy way, let's say my boss said, all right, well, I like both ideas, but let's just see what they both look like. Okay, this is an easy way to do that. All right. So I've got glazing option 1 and glazing option 2. My differences are very subtle. I'm sure you guys will probably put some more time into making a nice storefront system. But you can see how I can easily display the 2 different design options. And it's nice that I can go back, click on my 3D model, and I'm right back into what I was working on initially. Okay? Because you're still going to see the option or your original option as a part of your main model. Any questions about that? You probably will once you get to doing it, which I'll help you. But let me